WPIAL podcast on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. We are wrapping up the regular season, getting you ready for the playoffs. It's coming up, trick or treat, Halloween night, the first round of the WPIAL football playoffs, or at least opening weekend. I know in 4A, it's quarterfinals Friday. That since they've gone to 6 classifications, just so confusing. But nonetheless, opening weekend of the WPIAL playoffs coming up. We'll get you ready all week long. Check us out every day on our website. Our Week 9 WPIAL Team of the Week. We salute the Steel Valley Ironmen. Maybe a lot of people forgot about the Ironmen after they lost to Apollo Ridge, but they are still a player in this upcoming 2A tournament, and their outstanding head coach, Ray Braszo, is kind enough to join us. Coach Braszo, welcome and congratulations on another successful season.
Thank you, Don. It's been a long season. We kind of started a little slow, but we had to learn our team. A lot of guys had to just improve. We had a tough schedule in the beginning, so we kind of learned a lot about our team, and our guys learned a lot about themselves, and they worked at it every day. So we've just got better every week as we've been going along and take one game at a time. So, we made the playoffs. Hopefully we're ready to go again.
We'll talk about the season because it has been a little bit of an up and down campaign for your Ironmen, and we'll talk specifically about the huge win this past Friday. But I want to begin. I dug this bad boy out. Let me hold it up here. This is the This is the 1999 high school football coaching directory, all the coaches' names and their numbers. And I started perusing this, Raymond, and the only other names that jumped out that are still doing this, we had Art Walker Jr., he's not junior. I always correct myself on that. Art Walker, the younger Art Walker, back then was at Central Catholic. Lou Ciro, the Montour head coach, back then was at Seton LaSalle. And, of course, everybody's favorite, Bill Cherpak, was still at Thomas Jefferson. There are a lot of folks who have sadly passed away. There are a lot who maybe are, have hung it up a long time ago. There are some that even have their kids now coaching. It has been a while. It has been a wonderful journey. Back then, you were the coach at West Mifflin. How long have you been coaching? When did you start in your back and forth journey between West Mifflin and Steel Valley?
Well, I started as an assistant. I started in 1980 with Coach Novak. Then 89, I got the head job at West Mifflin in 1989. And then I forget how many years I was there, but I think I was from 89 to 2005, I think it was. And then I went back over as head coach to Steel Valley. I was there till 2010. And I believe I went back to West Mifflin. And then 7 years ago, I'm back over at Steel Valley. So that's kind of how I've been, where I went all those years. But it's started at Steel Valley, and now I'm ended at Steel Valley. So it's basically how it goes.
I've always thought you were one of the more underrated coaches in the WPIAL. You didn't probably get your just due. And part of that was because while you have had really some great teams over the years at both schools, the big one escaped you. You were able to finally win that elusive WPIAL championship a few years ago. Now that you can look back on it, that was it worth the wait?
Well, I like what I'm doing. So I like coaching. I like sports. It's been my whole life, basically. And that's what I do. And then I got in coaching, and I just, I was teaching and coaching. And that's what I like to do. And obviously I stayed with it. And every year you have the same goals. You try to do the best with your team. some of them years, like 3 years, I got to the finals at West
Yep.
Mifflin, WPIAL final, and then we lost, but I lost to some really good teams,
Yep.
Turpac was always in my way in the conference. We were always in the same conference. So that right there is a lot. TJ's always been a power, and West Mifflin always battled with them. But a couple of times, like in 99, 2000, we beat them twice to get down there, and then we lost to Pelco down there. And so it's
West A, yeah.
So it's always been some pretty good teams there. And I moved over when I got to Steel Valley. I've been there twice now, and it's been Beaver Falls, which is another kind of power we always had to play. So, I finally got over that hump and beat Beaver Falls there a couple of years ago with Donald Barksdale and Brookins. So we had some really good players. And then the next year we actually, did lose with Barksdale against Beaver Falls. And that was a tough one. So I've gotten down there like, 5 times. And before that, I was there twice with Steel Valley as an assistant with Coach Gare and Coach Novak when we did win it. So, it's what you do. You like coaching, like you're like announcing and you're still in it. So you keep going year to year and until you're convinced it's not good enough or you just had enough, I guess.
It beats digging ditches for a living. So, I mean.
It does, and it's fun, Once you just deal with the hard part, you deal with the crazy fans as a head coach, and that's part of it. That's the hardest part of it. Really, so you stay in it, and because you like it.
I'll bring us back to 2025 in a moment. I think the first time I met you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because the memory isn't what it used to be, but I think you were head coach at West Mifflin. And it was, you guys were playing Saturday afternoon games, I believe, at the old West Mifflin North School. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, we used to play. Well, it became West Mifflin, it was at the South School, West Mifflin South.
Oh, the South School. Yeah.
It was on the south end.
Up near the county airport.
Right. And there was a grass field and we used to play there in the afternoons. Yeah, that was West Mifflin South. And that's where, I started at West Mifflin was South, right, until they built the high school over on the north side, the north end. Yep.
So, all right. Well, good times back in the day. That was back when I was cutting my teeth in radio in that area. So, you and a lot of other coaches were wonderful enough to help me in my start, and I've always greatly appreciated.
You guys were the biggest in high school then. Your program was basically the main one that everybody listened to. Those shows.
Yeah.
Now they, going here and there, but yeah, that was the main ones in high school football when you had those shows done.
Yeah. I'm glad you're telling these young guys don't believe me when I say that, but
that's right.
We had it going a long time ago.
Yes, it was big all the time, and then you'd have different coaches on just like you did now,
right?
And everybody listened to those shows. Yep.
Now it's a fancy podcast instead of just the old Sunday night show that we used
on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about this season's team. You mentioned the rough start, but against a tough schedule, losing 2 of your first 3. But then you seem to kind of right the ship. Big wins once you got into conference play before the trip in early October to Apollo Ridge. Tough ball game, and you guys came out on the short end of the stick. Well, what was the feeling of the team in that setback that, knowing that South Allegheny to that point had been undefeated and now Apollo Ridge with that victory gets a share of first place. What was the feeling from you, your staff, and the team after that tough loss?
Well, anytime you lose, as they say, you learn something. So I think we learned a lot about it. I don't think we didn't play that bad. They just played us tough, played it tough up at their place. we had our chances to win the game. We got ahead, and they played a really good game. And after we lost, it brings you down to earth again. You wonder where you're at as a team. But Monday start. We come to Monday. We do the same things. We do the same running we do. We prepared for the next team and just try to move on. I got a lot of, I got a couple good leaders like Don or Deron, Day. They don't like to lose. He knows he's a good player. In the beginning, we told him, you got to be one of our leaders by example here and show these kids how it's done. We don't want talking and this and that, but get out there on the field, practice every day. And a lot of places we've improved our position, our kids where they play at, like some of our backers and whatnot. Everyone had to get a little bit better as the season went on. And that's what's happened. So, we still feel we could be better. And next week we're going to go back to the work and work on those things.
The one aspect I think of your team that has been pretty consistent throughout the year, even back early on when you guys lost 2 of the first 3, is the defense. You haven't yielded more than 3 touchdowns in a game, and in your victories against a very good Washington team, you held them to 6. South Park, you held to 7. Shadyside Academy, you held to 6. Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, which finished strong to reach the playoffs, you held them to 6. And then shutouts against Waynesburg Central and Ligonier Valley leading up to the South Allegheny game. And again, the defense was very evident this past Friday. The South Allegheny has been explosive offensively, only held to 12 points. So on the defensive side of the ball, you guys have been pretty steady.
Yeah, well, we work hard on both sides of the ball. Our kids are aggressive. Coach Kevin Clark, he's our defensive coordinator. He does our defense for me. He played at West Mifflin as a running back and linebacker. So he does a good job. We get ready. We take it very serious. Him and Woe and Taz and Coach Tooby and our Coach Joe. We get on that defense. Coach Russ. They all work hard, making them kids better on the defensive side. And we knew going into most of the game, a lot of teams, even the ones that beat us pretty good, they scored, 20, I guess, the other 2 teams that beat us. But, our defense gets after it. We got Deron, who's, going to pit as a D-back. He's our leader on defense, and he covers up a lot of mistakes too, just like his brother did last year. They get after it on defense too. So it's something we take really serious, and we have aggressive kids, and they work at it. So, defenses, you get into these playoffs, that's where it's at. It's like, I know, we're mostly a running team, obviously. We like to try to control the ball, and we wanted to try to keep the ball away from, South Allegheny. Their kids are really explosive. They're for real. They're quarterback and receivers. And we try to take away Cook and his brother's the quarterback. So both of them like to look for each other. He likes to look for his brother. And that was kind of our plan, trying to stop him.
Yeah. You had 2 big splash plays on defense against the Gladiators. Lamarian Rucker, 42-yard fumble, scoop and score. That was the icing on the cake. That was the final touchdown in the Ironman's 33-12 victory. I thought watching some of that game, though, that the big play, second quarter, you guys are up 14-3. They are driving, and Ashad Dye, an 89-yard pick six, really, I thought, took some steam out of their sails and gave you guys a major boost.
Yeah, that was a super play by Assad. He's coming into the year, was supposed to be our running back. And then he got hurt. And then we made some moves, and then we got a different quarterback with Tyson Kane. So we moved him to wideout. But for 3 or 4 games there, he had a bad ankle. but he's a good speed. He's one of our fastest guys on the team, and that was he broke on that ball's perfect defense and took it in, and that really kind of changed the game around. And like you mentioned, Rucker picked that ball up, and he's friends with that kid number 6 there towards the end, and he said, I seen him coming, and I was going to give it to him. I ran him over, and they gave him a stiff arm, and that kind of excited everybody. So the guys were into it because a lot of them know each other, from tech school over there, and then they're on social media. They always, every team, I don't know, kids all know each other, and they go at it, and you don't realize it. And so a lot of that was in play that night. So the guys went at it, and our guys played hard.
Deron Barksdale, 29 carries, 179 yards, 3 touchdowns, 10 yards, 19 yards, both in the first quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, a 5-yard touchdown run. He has had a fabulous year. Good to have him healthy again. I know he's battled injuries earlier in his career, but just talk about his performance overall. You mentioned on the defensive side what he means to this team. What about offensively, especially against South Allegheny?
Well, he's as good as a runner as he is on defense. I mean, he's he's powerful, he's a strong kid, for maybe 185, 190. Obviously, he's going to Pitt, and they see that. But he has that burst, and he's not easy to bring down. He's a little bigger than Donald was. But, he's our tailback. That our tailbacks, as in the past, all my tailbacks are where we try to get them to go. We got the same basic line that we had last year. Our linemen are experienced, not all big, but they're always there. Our line practices every day. They don't switch, like the backs. This back takes a few, his back takes our line every play. So they're a grunt. So them guys like, Dylan and Holden and Amir and Ray Vaughn and Ryan, they're there. They go in practice offense. They don't come out. They're just a good unit. They're the kind like, if you mentioned in the Steelers, always been together. They make it go. And then you got a back like Day. That's been our success basically most of the season with our defense. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you threw some love their way because they're, the unsung heroes a lot of times, the boys in the trenches, and the fact that you mentioned they're not a big group, but the work ethic obviously sounds like it's there, and the continuity. I mean, that's the one thing at any level of football you hear about, especially with the offensive line. You need continuity, you need reps, and the fact that this group is back from a year ago together is a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's kind of what makes us go. Our receivers or even all the guys, most of them. When you're coaching, like I coach, and I tell them, you got to be here every day. Like some guys, they will laugh when they hear this, but they got a dentist appointment. I have to leave early. I will be late. And it always seems to be everybody but the linemen. The linemen are there. I don't know. They don't go to the dentist, I guess. I don't know.
They put their hard hats on and they're ready for.
They don't get haircuts. They don't get this. They don't get that. It's not my birthday. Those are all excuses I go with all week. And then, but the line's there, even Day, he's part of the other side. We're going to have a good team. This is where it's got to be done.
Yeah.
That's not how it's done to have a good team. So those are things we work on and go through. It's not all roses all the time, Don, but it's, they've gotten into it mostly. They understand that. And we get our butts out there at 3 and we start and we get at 6 and we're out. So that's how it goes.
Wonderful. Kudos to the hard workers up front for the Steel Valley Ironmen. Deron Barksdale, we mentioned, obviously a big part of the success of this Ironman team on both sides of the ball. How much is his where he is in his game can be attributed to following in his brother Donald's footsteps? He was obviously a key player to those back-to-back championship game teams at Steel Valley. Donald was. So how much has that helped little brother Day?
Well, those two, they were always, competing against others. I think I'm probably safe to say this, and I think it's true, but that growing up, I think everyone always said like Day would be the main guy. It was always Day was the main guy, and they would both agree. And Donald always took offense to that.
Sure.
Donald, when he took that field, he wanted to be the best all the time. Every time he wanted the ball, he wasn't going for second, and he didn't want it. So I think Day is following that now. He knows how hard Donald worked to be where he was.
Good.
And when we started the season out, we didn't want Day to go into any habits like I'm the man. We told him, you got to lead us out there. You got to be on the field all the time. You got to get it done. You're going D1. Says it's different, So, and he's really, really has grown up this year, I think. And towards the end there, he's taken it upon himself that he wants to get this team as far as he can.
Good. So the Ironmen win 33-12, three-way tie for the Allegheny Conference Championship between Steel Valley, South Allegheny, and Apollo Ridge, all 1-1 against each other. So it goes to tiebreaker points, and you guys end up with the advantage. And so you get the number 3 seed in the Class 2A tournament, 13 teams, number 3 seed, and you guys receive the final of the 3 byes. Seton LaSalle, the top seed, Western Beaver, the 2nd seed, Steel Valley, the 3rd seed, all with first-round byes. You've brought many a team into the WPIAL playoffs. A fan of the bye, and how does that help or not help your team?
Well, the byes are good just because you might not get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, the other part of it, I kind of like going into that week and playing a game because you're just doing what you've been doing all year. You keep it going.
Sure.
And you play Friday, and then you go back into Saturday. I like that routine part about it because I think, even kids, even like or adults, you're not playing that week, so you might not think you need to go as hard, or you might not have to prepare as hard, or whatever. You don't want to beat them up this week, but I do like the routine part of playing this week and keep on going. And on the other end, though, we did have a few guys get hurt last week and the last couple weeks in the game. We're actually, Javon Barlow broke his leg a week ago, and now we had a knee injury. Robert got hurt his knee, so I guess it's best if you have a week off if you have it.
Yeah, and even those who aren't quote unquote injured, not having to go out there Friday. Yeah, you want to see good practices this week, leading into good practices next week, but not having to go and take the physical pounding, even if you're not hurt, even if you're, hey, I'm healthy, coach, that's got to help at this point as well.
Yeah, it does, because then you don't have to worry about getting hurt that day. You're not going to lose anybody. You try to take it easy this week where you don't get hurt, and then for sure next week you have your people. That's the most important. When we go into that game, whoever we play out with City or KO, as long as we have the guys that we need, then we'll be okay.
All right. Ewing Park Stadium, the first round game up in Elwood City between the Wolverines and Keystone Oaks. Your staff, players, a large contingency of maroon and gold. We'll be checking that out, I assume.
Well, I'll be going for sure. I know that. I don't know. People are different these days, though. I'll tell you. Some of my staff, they're not like the old days where the staff piled in the van with George Novak and we all headed up to Bell Vernon and, and Mr. Doug would say, oh, this is a six-pack trip or something like that. Nowadays, we'll watch it here, watch it there. Last couple of times, I took my wife, so that's all I know.
There you go, making a date night.
Yeah, that way, you don't have to hear it so much. You're never home, so that's good.
Any did anything stand out? Not necessarily maybe with you guys, but did anything jump out to you when these 2A brackets came out, or are you just focused on what you guys have to do?
Yeah, nothing. I don't know. I try not to pay too much attention to them when they do that stuff. I don't know. You just take what you get and then you go with it, So I know sometimes there's, we used to go down the hotel for the pairings and people express themselves a lot there, but there's really no one to express yourself for. You're sitting at home. So you get what you get and go with it. So I was never much of a complainer, but sometimes people have good cause, good complaints.
Yep.
It's like complaining to a referee. They don't listen to you anyway. So move on. Move on. That's the way I see it.
Well, it was a big victory. A lot of people, I think, had South Allegheny ticketed for the number 1 seed, but they forgot to tell Steel Valley the Ironmen knocked the Gladiators off, and now South Allegheny has to play on Friday. They're the 4th seed, and they'll be hosting Waynesburg Central. Ray, again, always been a big fan. Congratulations on your success this season. Congratulations on the big win Friday, and nothing but the best and wishes for you and the Ironmen in the postseason.
Well, I appreciate it, and you always do a good job all these years, Don. Keep up the good work.
I will try. You as well, my friend.
Have fun. Okay.
Ray Braszo, head coach of the Steel Valley Ironmen. We thank him for joining us. They're our team of the week for week 9. Thanks to Chris Lackner, our producer. I'm Don Rebel. We thank you for joining us here on the Rebel Yell podcast on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.